Welcome back to another edition of Arizona Wildcats Insiders Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Hutchison, and we are officially done with week one of college football. Arizona was able to put up a 40-point performance against Hawaii, where the Wildcats walked away with an impressive 34-6 win over the Rainbow Warriors. It was the first time the Wildcats have held an FBS opponent to under 10 points and having no touchdowns allowed in a couple years. They haven't done that in quite a long time. The offense was clicking. You had 4 rushing touchdowns total, 3 from your running backs. And then defensively, you had 5 sacks, 5 turnovers. Everybody was getting in the mix for the Wildcats. Now, it kind of started off a little clunky, I would say, defensively. Hawaii was able to move the ball, dink, dunk here, but Arizona didn't bend. They got their opponent and they had their opponent in the red zone. They were able to back them up with a couple penalties. They were able to take advantage of some situations, jar the ball loose on a potential touchdown pass. But overall, a solid performance defensively. They got stronger as the game went along. And, I have to say it is one of the more impressive performances since the 2023 season when Arizona got to the Alamo Bowl. And that defense kind of dominated throughout the second half of the season, where they won 38-24 in that Alamo Bowl. Noah Fifita, again, it was kind of an up and down game for him. We saw good in terms of a passing touchdown, rushing touchdown, no turnovers. That was good, Noah. Then we saw the bad in terms of missing guys open, not seeing them originally when you needed to get the ball out, overthrowing his receivers, putting it a little too high, a little too low at times. And then the ugly in terms of just running into pressure. Again, I think this offensive line is better than a season ago, and I think they showed it on Saturday night, but you have to have that trust with your offensive line. I think he has that trust with the line, but it's not fully developed there yet. And I think you need to see Noah improve. This type of performance that he had where he threw for 161 yards on 13 and 23 passing isn't going to be enough. It's just not going to be enough. When you get into the Big 12 conference season, even the third non-conference game against a Big 12 opponent like Kansas State, Iowa State, and he faces these bigger opponents, Baylor, Kansas, you're going to have Noah Fifita being sharp. He needs to be on his A game because the defense can only do so much against teams like that, especially like a Kansas, who has looked unreal so far in their 2 wins. Their offense looks very fast. There's a lot of movement, a lot of misdirection, and a lot of speed. So when you face an offense like that, you just hope you get a couple stops and that your offense can continue to roll. So Fifita's got to get better. That's the bottom line. I think I would give him a solid B- for his performance. I don't think it was terrible. I think it was solid. I think it was good. But there's a lot of room for growth. I think there's growing opportunities for him as he gets more familiar with this playbook, more comfortable with the playbook. I think you're going to see a better Fifita. And as he gets some of his receivers back, again, Chris Hudson didn't play. Wyson did play, didn't get much involved. Javion Watley, I believe, was the leading receiver with 38 yards. Again, the ball was distributed pretty evenly to 7 to 8 different targets for Fifita. You still don't have Cam Burnett. Tyler Powell went down, who I think it was going to be a huge weapon for the Wildcats this season. There isn't an injury update on him yet, but the coaching staff is hopeful moving towards the future with Powell. But there's opportunities to be had. I think the best thing for the Wildcats in this offense right now is its running game. Quincy Craig, 7 carries, 125 yards, looked unstoppable. Had that 54-yard touchdown run. Kedrick Reeseno, solid game, had a touchdown there too. Broke off a 13-yard touchdown run. It's more of that physical bruising back. Ishmael Mahdi got involved in the second half, later half of the second half. Got a touchdown there. I want to see Wesley Yarbrough get more involved in this running game. And, there's still improvements to be had offensively, especially with the running backs. I think as Seth Day gets familiar with these players, gets more comfortable with these players, we're going to see, I don't know, as much of a rotation. We're going to be seeing it dwindle down a little bit, but it's going to be a well-balanced attack. And you saw it on Saturday night. Arizona was able to pass. They were able to run a couple options, RPOs. I like the direction that the offense is moving, but this upcoming game against Weber State is going to be a great opportunity to have those tune-up moments, because once you get to Kansas State, the tune-up moments are gone. You got to be full throttle, ready to go, ready to roll. And right now, I don't think Arizona's offense is prepared to face a Big 12 team. I don't. I think they're getting there. I think they would have more success than last year's team. But again, last year's team, outside of that 61-point performance against New Mexico, averaged around 18 and a half points per game the rest of the way. They weren't good against the Big 12. They had a couple good performances, but overall, they got their butts beat. They got their butts kicked night in and night out. So how do you improve offensively? The offensive line, I think as it gets healthier, it's going to get stronger. I thought it was a solid performance, especially from a guy like Michael Wooten, who in last season, when he had to step in due to injuries, looked like a revolving door. It was open season. It was, oh, okay, you attack his side, we're going to need the quarterback. Now they've slotted him at guard instead of the tackle position. He's a little bit more mobile there for that position than he is at tackle. I don't think he's mobile enough. Very strong, very good upper body and good footwork. I loved what I saw from him. I thought that was massive progress. And again, you still have a guy like Jordan Brown transfer from Georgia Tech that was expected to be a starter on this line. But if a guy like Michael Wooten continues to play the way he is, how do you start him? You're not going to change the line. You can't afford to change the line. Now, Rhino Tepeatoa didn't play. He was dressed out, warming up with the team. I think you might see him against Weber State a little bit to a degree, and then full go versus Kansas State. Now, that's going to be a big piece, and see what they do with that. Do they move him in at guard? I think they slot him out at right tackle. I think you see Tristan Bounds come off the bench. And Ty Buchanan is going to be your left tackle. That guy's phenomenal. So I don't think you're going to see a lot of movement there. And then defensively, I thought they got stronger as the game went along. There were moments in the first half where the offense was dinking and dunking them for Hawaii, shredding them apart, getting in the red zone. But they were able to get in the backfield. They were a lot more active defensively than they were last season. Danny Gonzalez has made sure that as the defense coordinator, they're going to pull a lot of stunts, a lot of switches, a lot of motion, and they're gonna come at you. They're going to attack from different angles, and they were able to do that. So I love what I saw there. The secondary, man, they can hit. They can hit. Genesis Smith, that ball he was able to dislodge in the first half to prevent a Hawaii touchdown. That was Ed Reed-like. Just boom, point of contact. Clean hit, jarred the ball loose, incomplete pass. That's textbook. That's Chuck Cecil-esque. That's Ed Reed-esque. And you're talking about a guy that I think he can work his way into the second, third round, if not even a first-round pick as well, and be a potential Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year candidate. I think he's going to make the all-conference team this season. It's shaping up to be a great year for him. Defensive line, they're able to get after the quarterback. Trey Smith did a solid job. Dominic Alessio, okay. Julian Savanea, solid job. And others, they need to continue to do that and get pressure from different guys. Again, outside of Trey Smith, you don't have that legitimate edge rusher. So how do you create pressure? Through motion, through movement, from shifts. Danny Gonzalez is pulling out all the stops, and I'm excited to see how this defense grows because I thought it got better as the game went on. But there are some holes. They got to improve. Not a lot of major penalties for Arizona in the game. Excuse me. But defensively, I didn't think there was a lot of major penalties for them. Are they going to average 5 turnovers a game? No. But if you can come away with 2 per game from this point on, so that's 11. So that's 23 plus 5. That's 28 turnovers. That's a great number. That's a very good number. You're going to win a lot of ball games if you do that. In terms of sacks, are they going to average 5 per game? No. No team really does that in this day and age of college football with offense getting the ball out quick. So if they average about 2.5, 2 sacks. Yeah, and 28. I think that's a solid number. They were at 28 last year. Can you get to 32? Can you get to 35? I think you're going to see Danny Gonzalez challenge this defense. So there's a lot of great football out there on the field, but a lot of areas where Arizona can grow, and that they need to tune up against Weber State to prepare for Kansas State. Because the truth test starts in 2 weeks on a Friday night in Tucson against Kansas State. That's the true test. But now you have one more tune-up game to get ready for that. So let's see if Arizona can make those adjustments this week and see what they do Saturday night. We'll have more coverage on Arizona Wildcats on SI. Follow our Twitter account at Arizona Wildcats on SI, or me, Troy Hutchison, at THutch1995. And have a good day.